Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Most remember him vicariously through his music as one of the greatest composers of all time. Those who know the real story by seeing what I'm sure is the 100% accurate portrayal of his life and death in the movie Amadeus, though, know the real story. He was not only the greatest and most memorable composer in the world, he was also its first rock star, with the crippling substance abuse problem and mental insecurities to go with the title. The biggest piece of evidence that I found to be supporting of this theory is surprising. I see Mozart portrayed as a rock star not in how he acts or the talent level in which his music is made, but by what he wears. The way I see it, it's the showmanship and the outfits that create our idea of what a quintessential rock star should be. Two characteristics that Mozart displays in spades. Take, for example, the first time we see Mozart meet with Emperor Joseph in Vienna. Everyone who is part of the royal court is wearing dark, boring colors such as black or brown, has on very precise and put-together powdered wigs. When Mozart enters the meeting, we see he is wearing a purple pastel-colored coat, a large departure from the norm worn in the meeting. We can see his own flair on the established norms by way of his wig choice. He conforms to the norm of the room by wearing a wig, but he is a frizzy, erratic variation on the well-kept curls and tight pulled-back locks present on everyone else's head in the meeting. This is obviously not the only time that the costume designers of the film were called on to show story aspects of the film. Take, for example, the intriguing and complex character that is Salieri. His wardrobe tells us things that are only hinted at through the movie, albeit looking at the costume design is really only hinting at story designs. Take, for example, the first meeting between Salieri and Frau Mozart. When they meet, Salieri is wearing a red vest covered with a brown coat. In this situation, the red of the vest represents Salieri's love for Mozart's music, red being, of course, the color of passion and love. This love, however, is veiled by the brown coat, which represents his hatred for Amadeus as a person, which takes precedent and dictates his actions. This is in contrast to Frau Mozart's costume in the scene, which is a light powder blue dress with a hat and a veil. In this scene, and the movie for the most part, anytime someone is wearing blue, they are asking someone for something, and are doing so for an honest reason. This scene is no exception, with Frau Mozart asking Salieri to provide his unneeded critique to Wolfgang's already pretty much perfect music. In the majority of the scene, she is framed by deep red velvet curtains. To be completely honest, I'm not sure what this represents. I've narrowed it down to 3 options, though. 1. They represent the very real desire that Frau Wolfgang has for Amadeus, with the open space between her and the blinds representing the physical and soon-to-be emotional gap between the two. 2. The red blinds represent the soon-to-happen, almost sexual encounter between Salieri and Frau Mozart, with the open space in the frame showing the time that will pass before she returns. 3. They're just fucking drapes. I believe that there's a correlation between colors and the characters that wear them that goes through the entire film, showing the motives and predicting what will happen in the story. When a character is dressed in white, they are in a position of power, but it's usually royal power that doesn't have any sway over the story, as seen when the audience is dressed in all white when he is directing his first opera for the emperor, or the fact that the emperor is never seen without his white powdered wig and is usually dressed in the same color as the wig. This color goes beyond the costume design, though, I think. This can be seen in the last couple minutes of the movie, where we see that Mozart is being buried in a mass grave. He is thrown in with many other bodies and is now unrecognizable because he's wrapped up in a bag. This is in effect lumping him in with the rest of the mediocre population that we're all doomed to join when we die. The fact that Mozart isn't a driving force, not only in the story but the world, is driven home by the last visual we see of Mozart, which is his body bag being covered in a white lime powder, dressing him in white.